What's up, guys? I'm just getting everything going here again. I wish there was like a way to not have it die like that, y'all. But I don't. I'm wearing a GoPro, so it doesn't really give me a heads up. It kind of just dies on me sometimes. But yeah. Let's see here. How many of you jump back in? And how many of y'all bounced? Phone's being slow now. We're getting it going here again. Get going. That was a nice room we had. We had some people in there. We were chatting. We were hanging out. We were having a good time here. Saturday. Building a 9R in the garage. That was good. I was enjoying that. Hopefully we can get everyone back in here and keep this ball rolling. Like I said earlier, we're getting the foam out of here right now. It's crazy how much water is held in with this foam. It's nasty. It is nasty. Alright, it says the story's uploaded, so we'll get some people back on that. Let's delete the old one here. New one's live. And we come over here to YouTube. Can I see if I'm live again? It says view your stream. Oh yeah, we're in here. Alright. We got 4 people back in. Let's see if we can't get that back up to the 17 or 20 people there in here. We were having a good time. Let's get back up in here. Now that I see we're live again. Hey, and if you guys just found me here on YouTube, I've got an Instagram. It's just my name. So Ben, B-E-N. Last name's Bert, B-I-R-K. Tons and tons of good sled content on there. I do a lot of tech tip stuff, a lot of setup stuff. There's riding on there, all sorts of stuff like that. So make sure, if you're enjoying this, that you go check me out on Instagram, because there's so much more good content on there. All of the other years of builds and stuff like that are on there as well. And yeah, I think tomorrow we're going to be building this boost sled over here. So I don't know if I'm going to go live for that or if I'm going to make like a full length. I'm kind of leaning towards like a full length YouTube video on the build on that, because I've got, I don't know, probably close to $10,000 in aftermarket stuff to put on that thing. So, let's build a $35,000 snowmobile together. I think that'd be pretty fun, pretty cool. But for today, we're just working on the 9R here, trying to get this foam out still. Hey, I really appreciate you guys coming back into the room. Sorry about that. I'm sure that in a couple hours, this battery we've got in here will die and we'll have to try to reconnect again. I should probably try to figure out a way to not have the battery die like that and lose all of the people we had in here on the live stream. But hey, we're just getting her figured out. Look at all that foam. This little piece of foam weighs nothing, and I bet you when you get it waterlogged full of water, I bet this thing weighs easily 3 pounds, if not more. Easily 3 pounds. Okay, got that out. Thoughts on track length? Hey, thanks for watching all the videos. I'm glad you caught me live. I'm happy to answer all the questions, dude. I love talking about snowmobiles. Track lengths, I'm a 155 guy myself. I've ridden everything from 196s to 121s to 136s to 144s to 155s to 163s. 155s for me, my personal preference for a mountain sled. I've owned the 63. I just don't need it for most of my riding. The 63 would be really cool to have for like big hill climb stuff in the spring. That extra track length and lug in the ground would be really rad. I've ridden a 163 recently on a big climb, and it kind of gave me the same sensation that 325 did, where the 155 started to slow down and the 163 or 65 just kept pulling. But I ordered 155 sleds. And I'm not a jumper, so I don't need a 146. And for my race sled, it has a 121. For my pit sled, mountain sled, has a 121 on it. That's my take on track lengths, man. I like them short. They're easier to move around, side hilling. And, you know, when I had the 63, there'd be some times when, like, we literally had to pick up the rear and move it over because it was too long to, like, fit between, like, some tight trees. You know, it would hit like this. So for the more hard enduro style riding that I gravitate to, the 155 makes sense for me. Once again, thanks for everyone who's coming back in here, joining again. Sorry about losing y'all on the last broadcast there. The battery died on my GoPro, and eventually this one will die too. So when it does, just remember, just hit refresh on my page a few times, and we will get you back in here, and we'll keep rolling on this build. Once again, in the comments, you can see my Instagram. Find me on there. I post a lot on there. More in-depth stuff on the builds, riding stuff, things like that. Right now, I'm still just working on getting this foam out as we're letting the RTV dry on those springs. They sneak a lot of foam in these machines. If you guys got questions about any of the sleds, let me know. We're working on the 9R today. Over here, I've got a 25 boost that I'm gonna work on building tomorrow. I've also got my 440 IQR, runs on 110 race gas only, or you will blow it up. It's got pretty high compression from the factory, that's how they came. And then over there, I've got my Yamaha Bravo. My kid sled turned into a pit sled, basically like a pit bike. We put a longer track on it, a bigger lug track, extended different skid that's got more travel, cut and slashed the tunnel like a mountain sled. This thing's a hoot to ride. It's one of my favorite sleds for sure, for sure. And then outside we've got the 800 RMK, the 2000, a real classic. So for foam, we've got all the foam out from underneath. I've just got foam in the doors now that I gotta get out, and I got foam in the hood, which is over there. I was like, I kind of forgot where I put the hood. So this gray foam in here, like right now this door is so light. You take this thing off after you've been riding powder, and this foam is waterlogged. This door will like bend from the weight. They get so heavy with the foam. So you gotta take the foam out, man. You gotta take out the foam. You're really selling yourself short if you don't get the foam out of here. while we're ripping out the foam, let's see if we got any more questions over here. I'll answer your sled questions. No problem. But yeah, if you're just joining us, we're working on a 25 Polaris 9R. Got it in here today. Gonna finish building it. Doing all the little stuff I do to it. A lot of it's free stuff. There's some few add-on things we're gonna do, but most of it's free. Like taking out this foam that we're gonna weigh later when it's waterlogged and see how much it weighs once it collects all that water in it. One of these days, I think, call me crazy, but I'm a little nervous to do it with the Matrix because we're over halfway through the life cycle of the Matrix sled. But on the next chassis, I think I'm gonna buy maybe some side panels and like this cowling and stuff, and I'm gonna do some venting in it. So then whenever I get a new sled, I can just slap on the panels that I already have vented, and then I'm not having to constantly buy new vents. And if the person I'm selling the sled to doesn't want vents in their sled, it doesn't hinder the sale at all. So yeah, maybe buying an extra set of doors and a cowling that I can vent how I want, and then just swap it from sled to sled every year for like the 5 or 6 years that they have that chassis out. I think that's financially and resale probably the smartest way to do it. Because I went down the rabbit hole recently with underhood temps and stuff like that, and I would really like to do some venting. You know, the little scientist in me would like to figure out a way to put a temp sensor under the hood, and like just an ambient air temp sensor, maybe in a few spots under the hood, and then get some baseline temps for how hot it is underneath there, and then install all the venting and get some temps after we do all the venting to see what changes we can really make happen, and how drastic are those changes, and are they even worth your time and your money, you know. But we can't do any of that until I figure out a way to get a temp sensor, an ambient air temp sensor under the hood. So if anyone's got any recommendations on that, that being the actual temp sensor itself, let me know. If you've used one in the past or something, because I would like to get that set up for the sled. Look at all this foam. That's so much. It's so much foam, dude. It's so much water weight. You guys have no idea until you see how much it weighs when we get it wet and weigh it later. You're gonna be blown away. You're gonna be blown away. What's up, everybody? Where are you watching from? What kind of sled you got? Where do you guys ride? Do you got any sled setup questions? You got any questions in general about like the different sleds? You know, I've got a 9R here I'm working on right now. I've got a 25 Boost over there that we're going to be building tomorrow. What up, Matt? Stoked for winter as well, dude. It's gonna be a good year. Where do you live? Do you guys, excuse me, have snow on the ground right now? Or are you waiting for winter? Like most of us are. I actually saw some people locally in the area went out, got some trail riding in, and you know, normally I'd be a little jealous. I like to try to be the first guy out there, you know, but been doing this whole snow chasing thing now for 27 years, and this year I have a calmness about me that I've never really had before in the past. And I'm not too worried if somebody gets out there and gets it before me. But yeah, for you guys who don't know, my name's Ben. I'm 35. I've been riding since I was 21. I bought my first, or since I was 20, I bought my first brand new snowmobile in 2012, and I've been buying brand new sleds ever since. I used to work at a shop as a tech. Last year I raced a little bit of rimshaw, and the year before that I did my first ever rimshaw race. I ride a lot of backcountry powder, and I love sleds, all different sorts of sleds. I've got the Boost there behind me. I've got the 440 IQR, Yamaha Bravo, got some sleds outside, got all sorts of sleds. Stock sled with full or empty tank, stabilizer or other brand. Ooh, good question. I can't tell you like what is the best. I've done both. I see benefits and negatives to both. Most recently, so in the past, I've leaned more towards the empty tank. I store my sleds inside, so I've leaned more towards the empty tank with a little bit of stable in there. I think Project Farm or someone does a really good, I forget who it is, someone on YouTube does a really good like fuel stabilizer comparison, and I think Stable came out on top. Or pretty close to the top. But anyways, so in the years past, I've always stored them empty with some stable in it. But then a couple years ago, I had a sled, and when I first, I kept it. I rode it 2 years, and when I started riding it on year 2, after storing it without a full tank of gas, it was having some problems with some RPMs, and the spark plugs looked awful. Actually, I keep them over here as a reminder to myself. Here they are, 450 miles on them, low RPM, and then when I put in new plugs, it fixed it. And you can see these plugs look awful. Like there's like, you couldn't call it rust, but it's brown, like nasty. And the lead mechanic at the dealer said that is notorious for what water in the fuel system can look like. So now I've kind of thinking really your best bet would be to fill the tank full and keep the stable in there to keep the moisture out. Or if you're gonna keep it empty over the summer, be prepared to maybe have some water in there, and you'd have to replace the spark plugs pretty soon after you start riding. Something along those lines. The Fortnite was the the stable comparison video. Fat Tone said, yeah, the Fortnite kid guy, those videos are great. I think it's so cool that YouTube has become such a place for some good learning, and there's some guys who make just phenomenal videos with a lot of production value and like written scripts and like not a lot of fluff, you know. It's it's rad. YouTube's dope. It's a good time to be watching YouTube. I mean, YouTube's been crazy, man. YouTube came out when I was still in high school, and or just after I graduated, I don't know, but to watch where YouTube's came from 2008 till now is quite a trip. So this is your clutch side door. It's got the different style of foam in here. I think a lot of this is just for sound deadening. We're gonna go ahead and get this out of here too, and then we're almost through all the foam. You can see the pile over there that we've got going. If you guys are just tuning in, feel free to hit me with your questions on sleds. Happy to talk with you. Let's talk about anything I know. I've got the 9R here that we're working on today. And then over here we got the 25 Boost. I've got some other cool sleds behind me. Tell me where you guys live, what kind of sled you ride, and we can chat. We can chat. I think after we get the foam out of this door, we'll go back to installing that can you see over there on the bench. This foam holds so much water. And we're gonna measure the foam later, and you're gonna be blown away, me and you both, at how much weight this foam holds. If you guys were building a 9R sled, what mods would you guys do to the sled? What mods would you do if you had a limited budget? What mods would you do if you had unlimited budget? Would you put a turbo on this thing? I don't think I would, because I like how lightweight this thing is, and that it's kind of like the hard enduro sled. And then I got the turbo over there is, you know, the big boost sled. But yeah, what would you do with your unlimited budget? And then let's say you had a budget of, like, I don't know, $1,000. You bought the new sled, you had $1,000 left. What would you do? We're almost through on these doors, and you can see how I'm just working it slow. You don't want to just go ripping it, otherwise when you go fast, you get these little patches of foam like this, and they're a little more difficult then to come back and to get off. Or if you can really work it slow, like I am down here, you can usually get the majority of the foam to come up when you initially go by it. And anytime, in my mind, that you can work a little slower but be a little more cleaner, you're gonna have a better result. I think there's a great quote that I recently read. I wrote it down on my phone. It said, speed is a poor substitute for accuracy. And I love that quote. I think it's an amazing quote. So I'll say it again. Speed is a poor substitute for accuracy. Let that one sink in. I gotta say, it is so true. All right, we're almost done with this last piece of foam, and then we're gonna get back to work on the silencer over there. And once we're done with the silencer, then we're gonna start on some other stuff like track alignment, making sure that you start off with a good track right from the get-go. You know, if these sleds, all sleds are just built on an assembly line, and they throw the skid in there and they get the track tension pretty close, and they got to keep it moving. You know, they've got numbers to hit. They got to get so many sleds down the production line every hour, and they can't spend 30 minutes to make sure that your track is perfectly aligned. So when you get a brand new sled, it's really important that you get your track perfectly aligned. Otherwise, you'll start to ride it and it's gonna stretch. It's gonna stretch a little funny. And then you might end up fighting that track the rest of the time you own it, because it's now permanently stretched a little funny. So we're gonna, once we get through this stuff, we're gonna go ahead and align that track. But look at all this foam, guys. Look at all this foam that's coming out. And I know it's lightweight right now, but when it gets waterlogged, just like taking your wet clothes out of the laundry or out of the washing machine early before it has a chance to drain them, or like a wet blanket, you know? You ever got a blanket out of the washing machine and it feels 10 times heavier? It's exactly what this foam does when it gets wet. Exactly what the foam does. You know, this is from another machine earlier. This is a whole 5-gallon bucket full of foam that comes out of these sleds. And we're gonna weigh this later, and it's gonna be shocking at how heavy that foam becomes when it gets wet. Can't wait to do that video with you guys. Let's see here. Fat Tone says, my 9R has CFR Kesker key bars, 2-inch rise, TKI brake lever, and MC guard, Kyber 1 throttle block, console knee pads, IBAX clutching, BWC Infinity ski rubbers. If money was no object, would consider a carbon skid and Camso 300LX track. Nice build, dude. A lot of good parts on there. I would love to try a carbon skid. The carbon skid, dude, it seems like it's one of the better buys if like you take your weight saving, well, you take the total amount, $4,500, and you divide it, by the weight savings. It comes out to be, you know, it's over $100 a pound, but there's a lot of weight saving stuff that people buy that are easily $200 or $300 per pound, and the skid is a good buy at the per pound price for saving. Another good buy is the titanium silencer from oh, I'm blanking on it right now. Diamond S. I think it's like $77 per pound per savings, you know? So for every $77 you spend, you save a pound. The SLP one is a little cheaper. I think it's for every $66 you spend, you save a pound. But the SLP one doesn't save as much weight. So if you're willing to spend almost twice the price, you can save a little less than twice the weight. But if you're price conscious, the SLP one is a good buy. Like I said, for every $66 you spend, you save a pound. The carbon skid, another one with a good buy. And I would love to get the carbon hood. I don't think that one's quite as good as a buy. But still, it's better than some stuff. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at that aftermarket lightweight carbon stuff. Like, take the price that you're going to pay and divide it by the weight savings, and that will give you like a good idea on like, is this actually a good buy or not. The closer to the $100 per pound and under you are, great buy. The higher you go over that $100, I think you lose out on the buy more and more. Thoughts on QD ratios? I have the Kurt on my 2800 and love it. Build, clutching, gear down, and pipe, figure that comes in close to 1K. Nice. Yeah, I mean, with the QD2 that they came out with in 21, I think I had it on that sled, essentially gets you, I think maybe even lower than the Kurt's one does. Gearing down is definitely good. Now, with the boost, I think the boost makes like 55 mile an hour of track speed. I would love to see 60 or even 65 mile an hour of track speed out of that thing. So for the boost, I'm trying to figure out a way to get more track speed, and whether that's gearing it up or through, you know, like a big wheel kit and some other stuff. I don't know the right way to go yet with that, but I would like to see some more track speed out of the boost. I think for the 9R though, I'll be happy. I like the bottom end and I like how snappy it is. Just know that gearing down is not always better, but I think for the 800s, the 850s, anything running the QD1, I think style or QD1 gear ratio, I think a gear down to a QD2 is good for it. For the boost or something, there might be something more of a happy ground, and I think Chris Brandt talks about that, how like the QD1 was like way over here and the QD2 is over here, and that Kurtz one's like kind of in the middle. It's like the sweet spot. Yeah, I wouldn't turbo. I agree with you, Fat Tones. Turboing the 9R is just not what I bought the 9R to be a hard enduro sled, and that's how I want to use it, and putting the turbo on there would take away a lot of the weight savings and the reasons why I bought the 9R first. You know, I have the turbo over there for when I want to ride the turbo. Oh, nice. You got some aftermarket bumpers. I don't mess around with the aftermarket bumpers. They add weight, and I myself have no problems with the stock stuff. I rarely ever break a front bumper. I actually hit my first tree for the first time in a number of years last year. The OEM bumper took it like a champ. It folded, nothing else broke. Cost me like $100 for a new bumper. The dealer had it and I was riding the next day. You know, the aftermarket ones, not saying this is all of them, but if you make the bumper too strong, then you're going to start breaking other parts of the sled, and I want the bumper to break. I don't want to break like the mounting tabs or like anywhere else where that bumper connects into the machine. So I've stuck with stock bumpers forever. And on the rear, like, I don't wheelie the sled. I don't live in the East Coast, so I don't wheelie the sled in low snow where the bumper is going to hit the ground on the rear. So I've never had problems with the tunnel folding or anything like that. Just personal preference, not trying to talk shit. Just for me, I don't have a need for any aftermarket bumpers. All right, let's dig back into this silencer. We already did number 4. We got the graph oil seal back on. Okay, now it wants us to start springing everything in. Cool. I don't think the RTV is going to be totally dry on the springs, but hey, we've got sleds to build. We got another sled to build tomorrow, so let's keep this ball rolling. Really important when you're putting in the silencer that you make sure that you have the black seal in here, or the black little rubber protector. It kind of goes right here. They a lot of times get stuck on the old ones and people forget to switch them over. Then your silencer won't ever sit in here right. So you want to make sure you get that back on there. Super beginner pro tip right there. I'm sure all of you guys watching know that, but you know, when I used to work at a shop, you would never be surprised when someone brought in their sled and you were like, hey dude, where's this piece? And they're like, what do you mean? And you're like, okay, this guy doesn't know what he thinks he knows. Before we do that, we gotta spring back in this thing. Cool, we'll grab on these springs. How are we doing? Oh, they're a little tacky. You can see that, oh no, I pressed a little too hard. So we gotta be careful with these, or they will make a bit of a mess. A bit of a mess. Yeah, talking about bumpers, I think if you know, the stock is the lightest, and even Caleb on his lightweight build this year looked like he went with stock front and rear bumpers. If you are a guy that jumps your sled, I think that the case for a rear bumper becomes a lot more important, because you're really subjecting that chassis to a lot of flex. But I don't jump my sled and set up snow, and even in the powder I don't jump my sled very big. I'm not a jumper, more of a hard enduro style rider. I like trees, I like jumping creeks. I like going into a terrain that scares me and scares other people. You know, if you can't total your sled, are you really riding anywhere that's that cool? You know, you'll never catch me riding out in the meadows or anything like that. I'd rather not even ride that day, honestly. But you know, some people got to hang out in the meadows because we can't all be up in the trees. All right, we got our expansion pipe sprung back in. Sweet. Now we can work on tossing the silencer in. What's up, everybody? Oh, this is something to take note of. If you buy SLP can and you find these in there, don't worry. This is part of their bead blasting process, and occasionally those will get stuck in here. Not in the part where the exhaust comes out, but down here in between the side of the silencer here and the actual opening for the exhaust. Don't worry about that. Totally normal. Totally normal. What's up, Matthew? Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining the chat. Where are you tuning in from? Where what kind of sled you ride? Where do you like to ride? What kind of sled you own? Let us know, man. And before we go down there and commit on all of that, we've got to get this little seal on there. And you see how it's got like this wider side right here, and then this OEM little rubber piece right here has got the wider side up there, so you always want to put the wide side up towards the other wide side as well. Skidoo 850, Dillingham. Oh, dude, yes, Dillingham. I went out there and rode with you guys with Chris. We had an absolutely great time in Dillingham, Alaska. That was such a fun trip. You guys were all so rad. Oh man, I wish I was a rich guy. I would come out there and ride with you all every single winter. Had an absolute blast out there. If you guys ever want to come down to Lake Tahoe and do some racing in the spring at my race, y'all are more than welcome. I've got a spare bedroom. Just saying. Cool, cool, cool. This is all lining up just absolutely fantastic. Plenty of gap right here, which is huge, because in years, a lot of times when I install these aftermarket silencers, it causes the pipe to come over here and rub on the bumper. This one's got a ton of clear space, so it looks really good. Matthew, how's that Dew treating you, man? Dew makes such a good sled these days. Everyone makes such a good sled these days. You got a Gen 4 or Gen 5 850, and which is it? What model is it? Is it a Summit? Is it a MXZ? What are you riding on, dude? With the round edge down. So I had that on upside down. We want it this way. Gen 4 Summit, dude. It's a good sled right there. I will always ride a Skidoo. Any chance I get to ride a Skidoo, I'll do it. I will ride the Cat. I'll ride any sled. You give me a chance to ride a sled that I don't normally ride, I'm gonna take you up on that opportunity. I think it's so fun to feel the different ways that all the sleds feel. You know, it's like driving different trucks or different cars. You know, they all have a little bit of their own feeling, and I think that's really cool. There's, you know, no reason to be bashing brands when everyone makes a cool product and it's fun to try them all. Oh, a 146. I bet that thing is I bet that thing's got good track speed, and I bet it does really well out there where you guys live. So let's spring the pipe to the silencer using the stock springs. Use the provided large loop spring, which is over there. Or actually, no, it's right here. To spring the top front of the silencer to the upper bulkhead cross tube. See illustration number 4. There. Spring the top rear spring hook on the silencer to the bulkhead loop, losing the long spring. When installing the silencer, the top of the silencer will need to be tipped towards the outside of the snowmobile and it slid into the, yes. Ultra black. Cool. Let's start springing this thing into place. Make sure we like everything here, which I am liking. That goes there. We'll get this. We'll put this on here. You know, before we do that, let's go ahead and just spring it to the pipe. Get both of these going. Swing it around, we'll grab it with the hand, get our spring puller, and actually I'll come in from this side, Loop on there. Little tug. And we're on. And that is a great fit right here where this is. It's not too crooked or cockeyed or anything. I've seen some crazy fits over the years, but that's a good fit. Matthew, how's the season shaping up there, dude? Bert sends me some video clips from time to time, and it looks like you guys have been getting some snow up there. Last time I talked to him, said that he hasn't done any riding yet this year, but you know, it's getting close. So what can you tell me? I think I talked to him like a week ago or so. So in the last week, have you guys gotten any more snow? And have you guys been out riding yet, man? And then we're gonna use this one to spring and bridge the gap right there. Perfect. That thing is sturdy. We've got plenty of room between the pipe and the bumper right there. We've got some space left in here. Just checking the fit everywhere. You know, it's important with the aftermarket stuff because sometimes it just does not fit as clean as the stock stuff, but this is looking really good. It's a little close right here. Doesn't rub. See, part of me wants to go back now and take out one of the spacers underneath here to see if I can just get a little more clearance out of there. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's see here. Oh, it decided to rain and melted, so it's pretty icy right now. Dude, I hate when that happens, man. That is the worst. Guys, I'll be right back. I will be right back. we're back. We are back. Looks like we lost some of you. Man, we had like 20 people in here chatting earlier. And then the camera died. And we just have not recovered the view since. That's okay. We'll get back to it here. So, one of the things here when you're building these mod sleds, not that this is mod sled, but when you're making modifications to the sled, you really want to check everything, and if there's something that's not right, you have to go back and take it apart and put it back together and see if you can make it how you want. So for me, the top of the expansion pipe here is just a little close to the bracket right here. I want to remove some of the spacers that we put underneath here earlier to see if that gives us back some of that space or not. So even though we just sprung it all up, we're going to take the springs back off now, since that was basically a test spring. That wasn't our official spring up. And we'll see what we got going on here. My mom just texted me and said that she watched some of my live stream. What's up, Mom? If you're still watching, thanks for tuning in. It's always funny. I always forget, like, you know, that you put it out there in the internet and literally anybody can watch, even your mom. I'm lucky to have parents that support me in what I do, and you know, they were really cool when I graduated high school and said, hey, I want to move out west and chase snow. You know, they didn't go, no, you're going to college, or no, you're gonna stay here and get a job. They were like, cool, go chase your dreams, we'll be supportive. And yeah, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing any of this at all. So huge thank you to my parents for allowing me to choose my path that I wanted to walk. And you know, honestly, it's been great, because I wouldn't really change anything about the decisions I've made to chase snow and do what I've done. I've had a lot of fun, and if you know, if I were to pass away unexpectedly for some reason, I know that I got to chase a lot of my dreams and achieve a lot of the goals I've set for myself, and it's been a good life. That's what I would say. It's been a good life. So thanks, Mom and Dad. Thanks for allowing me to chase my dreams. All right, we almost got all these springs back off that we just put on. And we're gonna try to get some clearance that I like a little bit better. Yeah, look at that gap now. See how big that gap is? Before it was like this. So I want to try and get some of that gap back. And I wonder if, let's just be dramatic and take off both. Let's see what that does for us. Try to get this back up in there. But yeah, if you guys have got any questions about the sled, the 9R here, what I think about the 9R versus the 25 boost I got over there, why do I even have 2 sleds? What's the point? Wouldn't you just want the boost and to be done with it? Why would someone even want anything else? I don't know. Whatever kind of questions you guys have, let me know. Be happy to answer them. Also, if you're liking what you're seeing, make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's just my name. And let's see here. I'll put it in the chat so you guys can find me. I go over all the parts, all the riding. The Instagram's very, very active. Some good memes on there too. You might have seen some of the memes. I've partnered with Snow West on a lot of the memes I've made. We've got some pretty funny ones. So the gap down there between the pipe and that bracket is a lot bigger now. But let's see if now, when we put this all back together, if we like it, or if we need to go back and add one of the washers. How's the 9R with elevation? I ride in California between 6 to 8K, good powder. Or maybe that's Canada. I don't know if it's California or Canada. I ride in Lake Tahoe, which is half California, half Nevada. So if you're a fellow California rider, dude, what's up? The 9R with elevation does, you know, it's like any NA sled. The higher you go, the more power you're going to lose. I have the 9R though because I also have a boost, and the boost feels heavy if I'm going to do hard enduro riding, like where I'm going to be jumping creeks, or if I'm going to be wrong foot forward the whole day, stuff like that. The 9R or the boost feels really heavy if I've got a wrong foot forward or jump creeks where I only have like one sled length to get going. The 9R is super light and it's super snappy. So that's why I have both. Is I'll ride the 9R when I ride with my buddies who want to ride really thick, nasty trees where we have to wrong foot forward all day. And when there's deeper snow and I get to stand in the neutral position, so both feet on the sled in the middle, I'll ride the turbo because then I don't feel the weight. Cali, dude. All right, Jono. What part of California do you live in, man? What part? I'm looking to do some riding on the west side of the Sierra, like down near Fresno and stuff like that, or south of Fresno, even like Bakersfield and stuff. There's some zones down there that I'd really like to get to. The Kern River down in real southern part of the Sierra Nevada. I'd love to ride down there. Let me know where you ride and maybe we can link up. Because I've never ridden outside of Bakersfield and I'd like to do that. Okay. What's up? Fat Tone said, I had a 23 Pro Boost 165 and never knew how much I hated it until I rode it back to back with my wife's 850. It was nice in the deepest snow, but that hasn't been the conditions in BC. Yeah, dude, I agree. The turbo's great until you ride something lighter and then you're like, whoa. The turbo is heavy and it's laggy and you don't know it when you first get on it because you're just like so overwhelmed by all the extra power. You're like, this is amazing. But then after a season, or you hop on someone other sled and you're like, oh, now I see what everyone's talking about. And you know, that's the hard thing with sleds and everything is like you can listen to Brant and Caleb and me or whoever, all these guys talk about, you know, the differences that they feel in the sleds, and it just doesn't make sense until you go experience it yourself. Once that happens, there's no going back. So like, you know, you guys are probably here like, oh, what's he mean the turbo's heavy? Or what's he mean, like, why would you want anything other than a turbo? Well, once you've had one and you've ridden it and you go back and you ride the old stuff, it's a lot easier to feel the comparison, you know? It's like if you drink Pepsi and Coca-Cola. If you have them separate, yeah, there's a difference if you know what you're paying attention to, but some people can't tell. But if you drink them back to back, you're gonna notice a big difference. Big difference. So we are putting the silencer back in because the fitment was a little tight there on the expansion pipe to the bracket. And see, that gives us a much bigger gap now. I really like that gap. So we're gonna go ahead and start to spring this can back into place and then see once it's sprung in how it's looking. John says, mostly right out by Bowman Lake, haven't ridden much outside of Tahoe either. Yeah, I've ridden a lot out of Tahoe. I just haven't ridden that southwest side of the Sierra Nevada much. I'd really like to do that. Riding Bowman, do you live down in like Sacramento or something? I've dirt biked to Bowman, but I've never actually like ridden out there myself. Sweet, Matthew sent me a pic of his 850 on Instagram. I will check that out. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, here is my Instagram. I post a lot on there. Builds, rides, memes, all sorts of good stuff. I don't think you guys will be bummed if you follow me on the gram and you like sled stuff. We do a lot of sled stuff. So let's get this all sprung back in on our test fit here. I'm liking the gap. I can see a lot more daylight underneath there. We'll get this on. What's up? We got the room cranking again here. Where are y'all watching from? What kind of sleds you guys got? Where do y'all like to ride? I'm out here in Reno, Nevada. We're putting together this 2025 9R. I've got a 25 Boost over there that we're gonna build tomorrow. I've also got a 440 IQR over here in the corner. And way back there, we've got the Yamaha Bravo. It's a little 250 single cylinder sled. I've turned it into like a pit sled. So like picture like a pit bike, a dirt bike, but for mountain sled. So it's a little single cylinder, it's a kid's sled, but we've extended the track on it. We've cut and shaved the tunnel. That thing is probably my favorite sled to ride. It's honestly an absolute blast. But yeah, we got the Boost over there. We got the 9R. Ask me any questions. If you're curious on like, why would you even 9R when you have a Boost? Like what is even the friggin' point, man? Isn't the Boost this the holy grail, as good as it gets? And you know, the Boost is great, but it's not the right tool for everything. And that's kind of what we've been talking about here today, is where the 9R shines and why you might want one, or why you might want both, or why you might only want the 9R. All right, that does give me a little more of a gap in there that I'm a little more happy with on all that. Yep. I think that we got clearance here. Pipe touches there where it's supposed to. Everything's sprung in. I'm really liking the way it's all coming together right now. Let's take a look and see how it sits down in here. Nice. We've got great seal back there. We've got some space up here where we can slide in our little donut and help seal that up. Prevent any exhaust fumes from creeping back up here into the motor area, our engine compartment. And we will stick a little RTV on there before we're done, but not yet. Cool. All right, on to the next. Follow the EGT sensor wire up harness until you find a cable tie holding on the extra loop and loop it in, clip it in. Install the EGT probe and silencer with provided anti-seize on threads and torque to 22 foot-pounds with a 17mm crow's foot and torque wrench. Note, adding some anti-seize to the probe threads will probably make removing the probe easier in the future. Okay, we can do that. What they say it was a 17 mil. Pop the old one off here. Woof. She's a little tight. She's a little tight. See if a little impact will help. Wow, that one's tight. There we go. And there's your probe. And they want us to throw a little bit of anti-seize on here because they say it's going to help with removal. Let's see, you're down in the Bay Area, but my folks live in Grass Valley and have a place out by Bowman. I don't ride too much these days, but I like to get a 9R at some point. My 2017, you have a 2017 RMK and you follow on IG. Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching, Jono. You'll be happy with the 9R, dude. And honestly, you'll be really happy with the Matrix. We were talking about this earlier. The Matrix chassis is insane how much better it is than the Axis chassis. I didn't believe it. Like when it first came out, I was like, oh, it looks just like the Axis. Like, what's going to be the difference? But the Matrix, you can ride with 2 feet on the sled a lot, where on the Axis you have to wrong foot forward, and being able to ride with the 2 feet on and side hill just saves so much energy throughout the day. Honestly, going from the Axis chassis to the Matrix was almost as big of a gap as going from like the Pro Ride chassis to the Axis. It's crazy, dude. Didn't think it would be like that, but it's a big difference, and it's worth every penny if you like riding sleds. That's for sure. Oh, I'm noticing here we've got a spring that needs to go on right there. I keep seeing it and I keep forgetting because I'm talking to you guys while I'm doing this. See, the distance between the pipe and the bumper is close now. Now I wonder if maybe one of the washers, just one of the two washers might be the right move. But I'm worried about how much of a gap we'll lose right here between the pipe and this part. You know, because if we put that washer back in, then we should push up a little bit like that. Just a smidge. Here, let's slip it in underneath and take a look. This is part of the aftermarket stuff, guys. You gotta really do your homework on the install and make sure you're getting everything. See, that gap's way better right there. And the gap underneath here is maybe tolerable. Let's see when we take it out. Let's get a good eye on it right now. Okay, and then we'll take it out. Taking out that washer. Okay, there's the washer out. I think I like one washer in. So I think we're going to take it back out. And we're going to put in this one washer now. And then we're going to check the fitment all again. So this will be the third time, but this is what it takes to really get your fitment right, which is important. You can't just go slapping it all together and be like, ah, that's what the instructions said. So let's add in that washer. Oh, we got some more questions here. Light, fast, predictable handling of the NA gives so much more confidence in consequential terrain. For me, that equates to a lot less anxiety. I would even take an 850 over a turbo for an all-around sled. Yeah, I think those are all really true statements. The NAs definitely have a place, dude. And really tight technical tree riding is one of them. The turbo is heavy and it's laggy, and that's all turbos. And the NAs, they've got a place if you're a hard enduro rider. Same sled, just new bodywork. Not true. I wouldn't agree with that at all. Because I can ride a lot of stuff where I used to have the wrong foot forward. I can ride in the neutral position now. So I don't know what all they've done, but it feels like they've done a lot. If it is just really bodywork panels, then wow. But I feel like they've changed something with a little bit of the geometry of the overall setup, and it's a lot easier sled to ride. Any fires yet or after the Tyson Jake Paul? Is that too much to ask? I don't know what you mean by that, but the Tyson Jake Paul was good. I watched it last night. You know, Paul couldn't knock down Tyson. Tyson's a beast, dude. He stood there, and you know, Jake really never gave Tyson a chance to get close. Jake had what, like a 3 or 4 inch longer reach, so Jake just stood out there and, you know, just hit him from afar and then scooted back, so Tyson could never really get close. And Tyson's almost 60, so he's not as fast, and you know, he couldn't get in close and work him over. You know, obviously we would have all loved to see this insane fight, but I think, you know, being realistic, it went probably about how it was expected, and Tyson didn't get knocked out. And I liked what Paul had to say after the fight. I liked that he showed Tyson respect. I didn't really care or like Jake Paul too much before the fight, but based on what he said afterwards, I think he's doing the right stuff, man. What did he say? We've entered a era of truth. Some stuff, and he said thanks to all the military and firefighters and everything, and I thought even though it wasn't this, you know, we all wanted to see Tyson win and knock him out and have it be this amazing big thing, you know, that's just not realistic. And you know, what do you expect when a damn near 60-year-old in a 27-year-old fight? This isn't Hollywood. I'm just glad Tyson didn't get his ass whooped. As fun as it would have been to see Tyson whoop up on Jake Paul, because I know that's what we all wanted. That is what we all wanted. That would have been so cool. I remember going 2003 trailing arm to the 800 Dragon. That was a giant jump. Yeah, trailing arm to A arm, huge. No arguing that, man. No arguing that at all. But I do believe, after riding the Axis for a long time and owning multiple and now going to the Matrix, that the Matrix is also quite a jump forward. And that's for mountain riding. I can't speak to trail riding sleds. You know, for you guys, maybe it's not as big of a difference, but for us guys here on the mountain sleds, it's a big difference. So here we're putting that washer back on the little grommet, and gonna get this back up in the pipe. Why fight it? Let's just take off the springs. Third time's a charm, right? Whoa. There we go. Get a hold of it. Get a hold of it. So yeah, we're just working on fitment of the pipe, making sure that we like the clearance on everything. You can't just go slapping aftermarket parts on and not check on clearance. If you want to build it right. I mean, you can just go slapping stuff on, but it might bite you later. Okay. Let's try this. Let's try it again. What's up? Where's everybody tuning in from? Let me know if you've got questions about the sleds here. Right now we're working on this 9R, and tomorrow we're gonna build that turbo over there. I don't know if we'll be live or if that will be its whole own build that I film and make a full-length YouTube video for. Let me know what you guys think. Should I go live on the turbo build, or should I make a full-length video? It's gonna be I think I've got, like, I don't know, close to $10,000 in aftermarket parts for the for the turbo. The turbo build we're going a bit all out on. Not full blown. No, I mean, you know, my budget's just not as big as some people's, but we're gonna do some stuff to the turbo. But should that be a full-length YouTube video, or should it be a live? All right, we've got good clearance everywhere so far. Good clearance so far. Ooh, should we weigh the cans real quick? You guys want to see what the weight difference is? Forgot, I kind of wanted to do that. Let's move some stuff here and get some weights on these two different cans. All right, I got some cheapy scales here. Yeah, that's about right. Got me right around 180 pounds. Yep. Okay. All right. Cool. So, stock can comes in at, let's do this better. Let's do this better. Oof. I don't think we can. Okay. We're gonna have to go sideways with it. At 16 pounds. I gotta write this down. And the one from SLP, coming in at 8 pounds. So it's half the weight, which is wild because it feels like it's even lighter than that. Cool. If you're wondering why I've got these scales, it's to weigh the sleds before and after. Do all this stuff to them. All right. Cans on. Let's get back here to the chat. And start springing this pipe back up in. This is the third time, but I think we're gonna have the fitment really good. See, we got a big gap there. We have a tolerable gap underneath, and it looks like this pipe's all coming together. You'd like to see the turbo build as both. Yeah, see, fat tones, no. When you put on the bumper, you had to put in a different washer. Yeah, you get this aftermarket stuff, you gotta double check everything. The fitment is not always perfect, and but you can make it perfect, which is what a good sled builder and rider will do. All right, we got a tolerable gap. Same underneath here, tolerable gap. It's tight, but sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and say we're done with the can. And we are going to zip tie with the supplied zip tie. Sweet. All right, we are all zip tied up out of the way where no one should be rubbing or doing anything funky that we don't like. You know, whenever you're zip tying stuff back in, you want to see where might it rub, what might it rub on, if it is rubbing, which item's going to wear through quicker, stuff like that. Cool. All right, guys, well, it's been fun hanging out in the chat. I need to eat a little bit of lunch. It's almost 3 o'clock here, and then we'll come back later and we're gonna do like some sled setup stuff, and we'll be getting near the end of what we're doing to this 9R build. So I appreciate you guys all hanging out. If you haven't yet, check me out on Instagram. It's just my name, Ben Burke. I'm dropping it in the chat right now. You'll see more of this sled, more of the turbo sled, more of the 440 IQR, more of all of the sleds in there. So thanks for hanging out. Shoot me a message on IG if you guys enjoyed this. We'll be doing it again. Later.